What's up, Taiwan? I'm Yvonne with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. President Ching-te is the latest target in the mounting efforts across the country to remove politicians through recalls. Opposition leaders vowed to try and remove Lai following a mass protest in Taipei on Saturday, raising the stakes once again in the escalating battle between the ruling and opposition parties. Chris Gorin reports.
Mounting recall movements across Taiwan may be about to reach all the way to the top.
他就职满1年，只剩下24天，看你愿不愿意悔悟，愿不愿意好好的团结台湾，愿不愿意好好的做事情，否则520开始，全民罢免赖清德，好不好？
The announcement, made at a protest outside the presidential office that organizers say drew more than 200,000 people. The opposition KMT says they'll start the process to recall President Lai on May 20th, exactly 1 year since he took office. They accuse Lai of acting like a dictator and weaponizing the legal system against rivals, following criminal investigations into a variety of opposition figures. And after recent cases of some DPP members being accused of spying for China, the opposition have also taken to labeling the ruling party as green communists, a nod to the party's color. Lai, responding to the protests, called them a part of a healthy democracy, one that proves the accusation of dictatorship false.
台湾朝野政党都是中国渗透的对象，因此不是只有绿共，也有蓝共、白共。要战独裁，确实的地方应该要去天安门，北京天安门，至少到中国去。
The move to recall Lai is just the latest in a months-long political battle over recall elections across the country, one that began almost as soon as the 2024 election ended with split executive and legislative branches. Now, dozens of legislators from both the KMT and DPP could face a recall vote as soon as this summer. But recalling Lai would be a different challenge altogether.
It's mostly an empty threat by the KMT. There's no precedent for this. They don't have the numbers to impeach him, if that's what they mean, because he needs 2/3 in the legislature. And even if you get that, then the Constitutional Court needs to decide. On the other hand, the KMT suggested organizing a referendum to impeach Lai. I'm also not sure how that would work. And I don't think the KMT has the numbers for that right now, actually.
While Lai is unlikely to be removed, it highlights the level of tension in Taiwan's ever more partisan politics. Tensions that seem destined to continue until something breaks the deadlock. Patrick Chun and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Shortly after the opposition protest ended, KMT chair Eric Zhu headed to the police station for questioning. Police interviewed Zhu and 2 other KMT members, lawmaker Xie Longjie and spokesperson Crystal Yang, about a protest outside the Taipei District Prosecutor's office earlier this month. The KMT organized a sit-in outside the office after several of its members were arrested on suspicion of forging signatures on recall petitions. It is illegal in Taiwan to hold mass gatherings in certain restricted areas, including outside prosecutors' offices. But Zhu says the government is using the legal system to suppress dissent.
今天不能让独裁者毁掉台湾，毁掉我们的团结，破坏我们的和平，伤害我们的民主，甚至让我们的司法变成独裁者的工具。
The government has denied involvement in the cases and says it believes anyone who breaks the law should be held to account regardless of party affiliation. Pope Francis' funeral drew Taiwanese Roman Catholics of all stations, from representatives dispatched from Taipei to private believers touched by the late pontiff's papacy. John Van Trieste has this report.
As mourners poured into St. Peter's Square for Pope Francis's funeral Saturday, Taiwan's special envoy Chen Jianren took his seat in the diplomatic stands, placed between Mauritius and Thailand. For Chen, Taiwan's former vice president, it's a mix of official duty and the deeply personal. Despite China's claims to Taiwan, the Vatican is one of 12 countries that still recognize Taiwan. By Chen's side was a full-fledged Taiwanese ambassador, Matthew Lee, and Chen had the chance to meet with the envoys of other countries. But beyond this moment of diplomatic clout, there's the fact that Chen is a devout Catholic. And unlike most of the over 1 billion Catholics worldwide, Chen actually met Francis, not once, but multiple times while still in government. Francis even recognized Chen's other achievements as a public health expert by naming him the second Taiwanese to the Pontifical Academy of Sciences. Chen says he hopes Taiwan's current administration will be represented at the next Pope's inauguration.
我还是很盼望，等到我们新的教宗选出来以后呢，我们的赖总统可以代表国家来参加新任教宗的就职典礼。这我也在弥撒当中有特别祈祷。
Taiwan was represented beyond the level of officialdom. Though they are a small minority, Taiwan's Catholics have an active community nationwide. And some of them, whose lives Francis touched, felt moved to come pay their respects. Among them was this aspiring theologian from Taiwan, but now based in Rome.
在这样的氛围底下，变成说我在研究神学的时候，我是受到教会的鼓励的。所以这个东西，我觉得如果是在过去12年前的话，比较困难。
As memories of Francis's papacy linger, the eyes of Taiwan's Catholics from all walks of life will stay fixed on the Vatican for now, as a new pope is chosen and a new chapter in the history of this ancient institution begins. Alex Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
At least 14 are dead and over 700 injured after an explosion at Iran's biggest port, Bandar Abbas. Iran's government has yet to determine the cause of the blast, but says that improperly stored chemicals may be to blame. The explosion led local authorities to declare a state of emergency, with citizens advised to stay indoors. Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte was arrested in March in relation to his signature war on drugs carried out while he was in power. His arrest caused shock among his supporters and joy among some of the families still awaiting justice years after the deaths of their loved ones. Louise Watt went to meet some of the families in the Philippines capital.
Every day, grandmother Purissima Dacumos tidies this room in a poor Manila neighborhood for her family of 12. This has been her home for 35 years. With nowhere else to go, she stayed even after police killed her husband here 8 years ago.
Nagpaputok uli sila ng 3 putok. Hindi na po kami bumalik dito. Yung mga anak ko na lang po bumaba na dito na po nakahandol sa yung mister ko dito, as in dito na po yun.
Her husband, Danilo, a construction worker, was one of thousands of people, mostly from impoverished areas, killed without trial in a war on drugs waged by former President Rodrigo Duterte. Now Dacumos could finally get her day in court. Not here in the Philippines, but at the International Criminal Court, or ICC, in The Hague, which tries crimes of international concern. Duterte is now in ICC custody, accused of crimes against humanity. The former president, unwavering and resolute, even in the face of his arrest.
At sinasabi ko naman sa mga pulis, military na trabaho kayo at ako ang managot. So ito na nga.
During his 6 years in power to 2022, Duterte said slaughtering drug dealers and users was necessary to save the Philippines. Former President Duterte still has widespread support among many in the Philippines who say he made them feel safer. In neighborhoods like this one, residents say drug dealing was a visible problem here, but that the crime rate went down during his time in power. Many here say they wish Duterte was still in charge.
We're very safe ng Duterte's time kasi, di ba, makakatulog ka ng mahimbing, walang mga magnanakaw.
Sa drugs po, mas lumala. Mas lumala ngayon, unlike nung kay Tatay Digong pag sinabing, may kasalanan yan, drug addict yan, patayin nyo. Ngayon po, parang drug addict yan, o sige, mabuhay lang kayong payapa.
But the current government of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. says the crime rate has fallen. He's also cracking down on drug use, But unlike his predecessor, the focus is on securing convictions and not killing suspects. That's a clear difference from Duterte's drug war. Activists say up to 30,000 people were killed, but only 4 cases are known to have led to convictions, including that of Mary Ann Domingo. A court found 4 low-ranking police officers guilty of homicide for the killings of her husband and son. Those officers are out on bail as they appeal their convictions.
Dito parang pakiramdam ko hindi ko maabot ang hustisya, hanggang papel na lang ba. Kasi dito alos ang mga na madaling makakuha ng hustisya, yung mga mayayaman lang, pero yung mga mahirap, para ang hirap-hirap namin abutin ng hustisya.
Domingo hopes Duterte's arrest means justice is closer, but she feels sadness that she and other families have to seek it in another country, far from the homes that have been forever tainted by the killings of their loved ones. Luffy Lee, Joseph Wu, David Santos and Louise Watt in Manila for TaiwanPlus.
Gardening enthusiasts in India's cities are finding new ways to bring nature into people's homes and promote sustainable living in dense urban environments. Miriam Brunner tells us more.
India is among the countries most affected by rapid industrialization and climate change. It struggles with air pollution, rising temperatures and topsoil erosion. Social inequalities are driving people out of rural areas and into sprawling urban centers, adding pressure on India's major cities, with some of the worst air quality levels in the world. It's an environment ripe for new solutions. Sustainability expert Kunal Jagdale sees urban gardening as an ideal way to decarbonize households.
It's an additional layer on your roof where it acts as an insulation to the heat that is being transferred inside the house. So it reduces, as I said, 5 to 7 degrees of Celsius, it will reduce heat that is coming inside the house. And apparently if heat is coming less, you will need lesser AC.
Based in Delhi, the world's second largest city, Mayank Sharma has turned his green thumb into a thriving business. He started his journey over a decade ago to cope with the death of his father, also a gardener. Now he has found success online, captivating over 300,000 followers on Instagram. He uses social media platforms to promote sustainability, educating viewers on how to transform their rooftops into mini gardens.
Imagine a Delhi where an aircraft lands or a drone flies by and there's no terrace which is not green, right? Which is not having fruit plants, vegetable plants. That'll be beautiful, right? And that's the idea behind all of this.
But gardening isn't just about living sustainably. As Mayank Sharma's story shows, it can also be a tool for healing. The founder of a business called The Greenish Affair, Aditi Qatar, shares how greenery helped her deal with mental health struggles and hopes to inspire others to do the same.
People actually started getting plants home because they come with the least responsibility as compared to pets and kids. So I started my journey like that only because I used to find my happiness here. I used to share it with the people, and I wanted people to know that how plants can actually help you overcome your stress or anxiety, or in my case it was postpartum depression.
Terrace by terrace, roof by roof, these people are working to make urban Indian households more sustainable, inspiring others to add a touch of green to concrete spaces, improving their cities and their mental well-being. Joseph Wu and Miriam Brunner for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow us on social media for more of our stories. Finally, we go to Japan for this traditional crying sumo festival that dates back 400 years. I'm Yvonne Yang. Take care, and I'll see you next time.